Hello everyone, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Sarah and today I'm going to be talking about all the books that I have read in April. I've only got 5 to talk about today, but that seems enough to warrant getting yourself a nice beverage of choice and cozying up. So, without further ado, let's go. I'm starting with The Adventures of Amina Al-Sirafi by Shannon Chakraborty, and this was such an excellent book to start off the month. We follow Amina Al-Sirafi, who is an infamous female pirate and also a mother in her 40s. As we begin the book, she has given up her life of scandal and seafaring to live peacefully with her whole family in the mountains of Aden. However, as with so many scandalous characters, they just can't seem to leave their past in the past. And when she is offered a treacherous but highly rewarding job by the mother of one of her former crewmen, how could she say no? This is a new-ish release. It's the first book in a new fantasy trilogy to come. It's set in the Middle East in the 12th century as well as the Indian Ocean. The world building is rich and lush and so embedded with detail that you really do feel like you're right there in the harbours and in the markets and on the ship with them. It's just glorious. It has the perfect mix of family, sacrifice, romance, mayhem, loyalty, magic, violence, and just humanity, and it just makes this book sail by. Amina is a truly refreshing choice of protagonist too. She's incredibly wise, intelligent, and honestly hilarious as a narrator. And I for one would love to read more books with badass mothers with bad knees are the main character. This read was such a fun time and I'm so excited for the next installment to come out. Highly, highly recommend. Next up we have Blackberry and Wild Rose by Sonia Velton, which is a historical fiction set in the Spitalfields silk producing areas of Georgian London. We follow 2 women throughout this novel. The first is Esther Thorell, the pious and wealthy wife of a silk weaver, and we also follow Sarah Camp, a former prostitute who is rescued by Esther from the brothel that she works in. Esther is a painter and a watercolourist and has huge ambition at the time of becoming a silk designer herself. After she is ridiculed by her husband for wanting this ambition, she unwittingly sets in motion a series of horrific events that have truly awful consequences at the cost of others. This is a story about powerful female allyship and friendship, as well as ambition and power and class. It's a very quickly paced book. We alternate between Sarah and Esther's point of view and perspective constantly throughout, and it's written in real time, so it's really boom boom boom. It doesn't really slow down at any point. We meet a lot of other characters, including the working class silk weavers. The way the silk weaving is described is really gorgeous and immersive, and the emotions of the women are conveyed really directly and beautifully. I really enjoyed this book. I love a historical fiction, I love multiple POV and strong female characters, and of course a beautiful cover. So this book did not disappoint. I'm a bit late to the game with this one. I know so many people have been raving about it for ages, but next up is Uprooted by Naomi Novik. Uprooted is a fantasy novel based on Polish folklore. We follow Agnieszka, a clumsy but endearing peasant girl who lives in the village of Wernick, which lies at the edge of a malevolent and animate magical forest known simply as the Wood. Protecting the surrounding villagers from the Wood and all of its evil forces is a wizard who is known as the Dragon. Almost as payment for his services to the villagers, every decade he plucks a village girl to serve him for the next 10 years before he then releases them back into the world. This time Agnieszka is the one who is chosen, and so throughout the book we follow her as she comes into her own magical abilities, and they both seek to battle and destroy the Wood for good. This book, it was kind of bananas in the best way. There was something happening on every page. It was relentless, such a fun read. I loved the characters, especially Agnieszka and Kezia's friendship, and the book definitely has that storytelling, folkloric aspect imbued in it, and it just makes it feel so rich and magical. I absolutely love this book. 5 stars, 10 out of 10. Gorgeous stuff. I'm gonna have to look at the title of this next one because it was an audiobook and I can't remember it off the top of my head. So, Stories We Tell Ourselves, Making Meaning in a Meaningless Universe by Richard Holloway is the fourth book on my list, and it was my audiobook of choice for April. This book blends science, philosophy and religion to question and dismantle preconceptions and attempt to answer the questions about why we're here, why do we exist? If I had to describe this book in 3 words, I would say compassionate, insightful, and questioning. It's the type of book that, despite your personal convictions beforehand, you're invited to question where those ideas come from and why you believe them. I expected this to be more generally philosophical than based so much on religion and religious ideologies, specifically Judeo-Christian ideals and belief systems, but I did find it fascinating, and I think it is always a good idea to entertain or to listen to the ideas of people who think differently from yourself, or just people who don't always agree with you. And this book is kind of just a series of pushing you to look and to consider different ways of thinking, which I think is great. You can tell Richard Holloway used to deliver sermons, but it is really nice, I think, when authors deliver their own audiobooks, because you really get a sense of the way that they expected it to be read as well. Richard Holloway speaks with a lot of clarity and a lot of accessible terminology. Things are explained really well. I'm not sure I would necessarily recommend this to everybody, but if those subject matters intrigue you, then I think it's definitely worth checking out. Lastly is Spores by Joshua Barkman. I was on the fence whether to include this. It's not really a graphic novel, it is definitely more of a comic, but it is a book nonetheless, and I did read it in April. My lovely friend lent this to me, saying that she thought I would enjoy it, and boy howdy was she right. This is a compilation of a comic series created by the Instagram account False Knees for one of their Inktober challenges. I believe it was for last year. It's really short and incredibly wholesome and sweet, best enjoyed with a delicious drink and a blanket. So those are all the books that I managed to read in April. Obviously it's not tons and tons, but it's what I managed to read this month, and honestly I'm pretty proud of that. I hope that wherever you are enjoying your own reading journey. Thanks for spending this time with me today. I hope that you enjoyed. If you'd like to, let me know what books are keeping you company at the moment. You can leave them in the comments below. Thanks for sticking around, and I will see you in the next one soon.